walls and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Longbangers. I'm Matty.
Hello, I'm Colin.
Hello, I'm John.
And the episode is, of course, in association with our sponsors, Leith Spirits. Colin, how are you doing tonight?
I'm alright. Busy day, but not too bad. Not too bad.
And John, how about you?
Aye, I was going to say it's been a quiet but busy day, and I thought that's a bit of an oxymoron, and I'll probably get picked up on it. But what I mean by that is that I've not really seen anyone, but I've been out with the bear and the wife most of the day. So quiet but busy, and it's
Nice.
not been bad. Usual soft play, taking her out, getting her feet measured at Clark's, then can't find fucking shoes that fit her feet anywhere.
Did you go to the Livingston one?
Yep.
The one in the centre, right? Because you get them half
Yep.
price and that, and yeah.
Aye, we quite like well, I say we quite like, we've been to the outlet one, and I was saying to the missus that for people with feet that are my size, so like sort of 11 or 12, you just didn't get shoes that are any nice. They are just like it's like the leftovers and the pedo shoes that are in my size.
Clown
And
feet.
Clark's in the outlet, clown feet, aye. Excuse me.
Do they still have the mad machine for measuring the feet in Clark's?
They don't have the
Well,
machine. It was a wee, like, sort of, almost looked like a sort of upside down roller skate with like a bit of tape in it over it. But I do remember
well,
the
that's
mad
old
machine
school.
that you're talking about.
They had an iPad once when I was in, like, basically
Aye.
put an iPad. That was, but this then now and again bring the roller skate. I've not done that for
Aye.
years. My kids are older now.
Do you remember Clark's on Princess Street when they used to get like the ticket and then they would get like the number flash up on the digital screen to say, right,
Aye.
next, come and get your feet measured. They have that in the outlet, but they've not got
Yeah.
the screen, Disney Work, and they've not got the ticket. So I'm guessing it'd be an outlet score. The budget's not there for it.
It's just like old school going to the bar in there. Like you're just like, right, well, flashing money about and that seems like they'll serve you next.
Try to nudge your way in and hoping the bar person kens what they're doing. No Hibs to talk about this week, really, or no match to talk about. The ladies won 10-0 today. It's quite impressive. They beat St Johnstone in the cup, so well done to them. I never watched it, and I don't suppose we're going to spend much time talking about it. So tonight we were going to do like our 2023 year review and look back at the highlights of the year, possibly some lowlights. We'll see what comes up. We've got some tweets from people to include, which we'll get to towards the end of the episode, so listen out for that. But John, you've got the early part of the year. Do you want to get the ball rolling then and kind of give us your first 2023 highlight?
Aye. I mean, so when you gave us this assignment, if you like, when we talked about what it was that we were going to do, I feel like I've maybe gone off on a completely different tangent. Like I've done a
Excellent.
proper, almost blow by blow review. Like you said to me before we started there, like, have you got any highlights? I went, no. But let me summarise January to March 2023, and we'll get the ball rolling that way. So we played 11 games, only 10 of them were league games. One of them was in the cup. We had 5 wins, 2 draws, and 4 losses. Scored 21, had 19 against during that period. In March, the highlight was probably, actually, we finished off the month with a 6-0 victory against Aberdeen, which was probably notable for a couple of things. Josh Campbell got his first, to the best of my knowledge, senior hat-trick.
Mhm.
It's the first, in my memory, instance of a manager having been sacked and then leaving via the away team's pitch. And also was notable for Dave Cormack crying on the radio.
Right.
That's only a year ago, eh? It feels like fucking ages ago.
It seems like a lifetime, eh?
That was El Sacco, wasn't it? That was kind of how it was built. So Lee Johnson's coat was on a shoelace peg at the time, and obviously Dave Goodwin's was on a, as it turned out, even a shoelace peg. 6-0, I can't remember us ever getting a scoreline like that against Aberdeen. Certainly in my lifetime, I didn't think it had happened before then. It was kind of like you say, a remarkable game, and you picked out the fact that Josh Campbell got a hat-trick and we saw Goodwin getting sacked. But actually, it was remarkable for the fact we scudded them 6-0. I think just like the scoreline itself becomes remarkable.
It's funny because, like, I'll not go into the details of it, but during January we had 2 defeats to Hearts, like right at the start of the year, and I was throwing the toys at the pram. gone out for a lovely breakfast with some of our listeners. I have to say that I did actually pay for my bill that day. It wasn't hospitality or anything like that. But I left at half time because
you're doing something wrong.
I left at half time because I was that fucked off. Because if you remember, that was when Uli Yuan was throwing goal. I think we were maybe 1-0 down at that point, and he's just delayed, and he's never pulled a shot. And the Hearts players got back and nicked the ball away, and I went, fuck that. I can see like the writings on the cards. It was very much 2016. Like I was pretty much in the train station, but this time there was no equaliser. There was no replay to look forward to. And
Your decision was vindicated this time.
Aye, no, absolutely. But interestingly, after that, we followed up that game with a victory against Motherwell, which was notable for a Kevin Nisbet hat-trick. So there was actually quite a few hat-tricks during the month of January. What was also notable as well, and why I'm mentioning it, is because we, after the Scottish Cup, where when you mentioned it being El Sacico, we'd just been beaten 3-0 by Hearts at Hampden. And we followed it up with a victory. So that was kind of like, it bucked the trend a little bit of the whole Streaky Lee thing. Because it was like, well, you're going to get gubbed and then you're going to go on and win. You're going to get gubbed, you're going to go on and win.
The Motherwell game, notable for, I think that was one of the few games that McGeady featured and played well for us. I'm sure he set up a couple of goals for Nisbet.
Did he come on and then go off injured during that game?
Quite possibly. That's
because I think there was a game,
isn't it? Like any game for us.
I'm sure that might have been a game where he'd come back after a lengthy period out injured, and that was the game where he kind of like broke down again, and that was kind of like the end of him, where he maybe got like a game and a half. I can't remember. It was a weird. What was it? They were injecting like sugar or something into his injury to try and like aggravate it and build new tissue. It was some. It actually sounded like a bullshit treatment, but it was a genuine one. I remember googling it and reading up on it at the time.
Even remember that?
That's going to be a placebo or something. Ken, when they're going, it's fucking wrong. I'm just pretend you're doing something. Just fucking
inject it.
I'm just a podcaster, not a doctor.
Well, we can speculate, John. It's all right. The Dave Cormack thing, right? In days gone by, that would have been like gold dust for you, for like podcasters or well, they wouldn't have had podcasters, but for football fans, pretty much any time Aberdonians were to try and take the piss out of us for anything, a comeback of "we made your chairman cry" would fucking end it like that. There's no comeback for that. But it's different times now. Are you allowed to take the piss out of that kind of thing anymore?
I don't know. Probably not, right? Because of the. Well, we've got a sister podcast about mental health, right? So we probably can't. I was watching Al Murray, right? You seen Al Murray, the pub landlord, recently? It was an old one. It was on at Christmas, or during Christmas and New Year, and it was an old one. It was quite funny. But there was a boy in the front row. He picks an old boy. There's a boy working in the army, and he always keeps going back to him. There's a boy just called Fat Boy all the way through, And I thought that boy's front row just getting called fat the whole hour and a half or whatever it was on. And I thought he'll be coming out there, and I found myself thinking, poor bastard, like he's in front of 10,000 folk or whatever the holds, and he's laughing in that. But I'm looking at his face thinking, you're just laughing because you're meant to. You're not. Like, head behind the eyes, mate.
You're not playing along with this. You're just fucking gritted teeth laughing.
And he picked him out first minutes, and I thought that's just fucked the whole experience, for him. What a shame.
Aye, I thought that at the time, and obviously we try to kind of stick on the right side of these things, but fucking that would have been gold dust. And still the temptation's there when they pipe up, but you just think, I'm just going to fucking say it because fuck yous. I can't stand Aberdeen, and I can't stand them when they beat us because they're all over our Twitter. They're fucking insufferable online when they get a result against us.
Yeah.
And I just think
Dundee United as well, Them, they were bad, but we fucking forgot about them. They got pumped off yesterday.
Good for them, So the 6-0 will definitely highlight. John, what other results were in there that you wanted to draw attention to?
Probably, well, I mentioned the bucking of the trend of the whole Streaky Lee thing, and then we go into January and February. We end February. Talking shite. We end January with a draw against Ross County. And then the next three games, we go on a winning streak. We beat St Mirren.
That was the Marshall in the net game.
Fuck
was it? Well remembered.
what a ridiculous piece of fucking refereeing that was. It still annoys me to this day. You think, fucking imagine if we'd demanded the audio and fucking all the rest of it, which we should
How
have
that
done.
never got pulled back
Aye.
is incredible. Anyway, carry on. Sorry, John.
Yes.
That's all right. Where were we?
We went on a run.
Went on a run. Draw against Ross County, beat St Mirren, beat Kilmarnock, beat Livingston 4-1 at Livingston. And I think there was a couple of notable things in there where Kaharovic, who I think came back from injury, who just never really got going for us, but looked like a really good player while he was here. He scored the fourth, which I think, was that one of the early VAR calls? Because I think originally like the goal was maybe chalked off, or there was maybe a wee bit of an idea that maybe Nisbet or something was in the way. I can't remember, but
I
it was
remember
a
that,
late goal.
John. I agree with you. I don't think it was an early VAR call because we're talking back whole month of Marshall getting in the net. So I don't know when VAR came in, but I think VAR was there the whole of January. Because the end of January, that was the one we said, why did they not pull it back? Then the Kilmarnock game, that was just, we were in hospitality that day through a prize I won. Fuck all the day with anything else. That that was when the Kilmarnock player got kicked, sent off for.
Aye.
And mine Hoppy scored.
Funny you mentioned that.
Because we were still on the bar.
We missed it, we were still trying to get a drink.
I had that written down, Matthew Hopper, Mikola Kaharovic for their goals.
Yeah.
And then March, there was no highlights because we got fucked 4-1 of Rangers and 3-1 of Celtic. So that ended the streaky league period. But when I say doing my research, when I was making some wee notes, we took 17 points out of a possible 30, which feels like a decent return for the games that we played and the opposition that we had. And I also think that it set us up for that kind of end of season push for what could have been third place, but ultimately we fell away from.
Aye. 17 for 30 sounds no bad. When you've got games against Rangers and Celtic, and the Hearts ones were the killers, Like if we had good results in those games, the whole mood around the place would have been different. Probably the 6-0 helped turn the season around a wee bit at that point because it was sort of like bumbling along, but we weren't really doing anything, and that result was probably the wee bit of confidence that we needed. And
Is that wee run though? John said 3-4 wins in a row, and there should be more because we should have won at Ross County that night, despite even Marshall not getting bowled into the net. We should have beat them more comfortably. I think that was a chat at the time. It's like, well, we would have won at 1-0, but it's like, but we could have just made it easier for ourselves so that we didn't find ourselves on the end of a shit decision or bad mistake or whatever.
Took the noise away for Johnson getting sacked as well, because that sort of died down a bit after that. Colin, you had the next wee period, so you're kind of finishing off last season and into the start of this season.
Aye, so I've just been doing some research before John was talking. I did look it up. So April, we played 4 games in April. The return was 4 points out of 12. So with 2 losses, 1 win and a draw. And the notable point being the 1 win was the derby when Nisbet scored the winner and gave Naismith a wee bit back for being a horrible weekend or whatever it is.
I think that was the kind of widely accepted. That's what it was at the time, innit? That was a good highlight to pick out, though. Like with derby wins is more fucking few and far between. That result wasn't it wasn't a fluky one. It was a deserved one. Now we probably should have beaten them by more, I think. Yeah,
I think so. Well, from memory, it was a good. I just remember it being a good day because I think it was a Saturday lunchtime, maybe. Rather than we tend to get a lot of evening ones against them at Easter Road, but that was a Saturday lunchtime. It was quite a nice day, and sunshine was on Leith properly. And the players weren't just fucking talking about getting sunshine on Leith played at the end. They actually got out played that day. So I had 4 points out of 12 in April, so a bit of shit. Again, it's just streaky Lee, Like we've just come off the back of 4 wins or whatever it was that John just rattled off. A couple of old firm defeats, which we tend to accept, right? Because it should be what happens. And then you get another wee run of teams, and you go 4 points out of 12. And that's That's the problem we had. And when I say those losses, Dundee United lost, Motherwell lost at home, and a draw with Motherwell. A draw with St Johnstone. Sorry, that was the other games. So really, we should have winning the derby. You've got to be looking at 12-12 there. Eh?
Aye.
Dundee United that got relegated lost 2-1. Motherwell at home. Fair enough, Motherwell can be no bad, but Motherwell at home, we should be expecting to win that. St Johnstone away always a bit shit, but even if it was 10-12 and take the St Johnstone away as a draw, and that's another reason. This is when we come to the end of the season next month, we miss out by Bohir.
Aye.
Midge's Bohir. So
you remember us looking at that run of games? Remember us recording the episodes for it and looking at it going, well, I think we had us doing for maximum points because realistically, it wasn't like a big ask to do it. They are games that we should have taken full points from, and in just fucking typical Hibs fashion, we fucked it up.
Yep, and that's it. When you at the end of the season, that was the last minute penalty. Was the Dundee United game? Remember, McGrath scored it in the last minute. Fletcher scored for them as well. But aye, so we might be picking the season highlights, but it's hard. You've got a derby. There we go. Everybody enjoyed it. It was brilliant. We got the song played. But what let us down overall was the games.
Aye.
Team relegated, go away to the team that's relegated. They can't fucking pick a win or a draw, and you'll let them win. So that was April. May. Sorry, John, you've got to say something.
I was just going to say something. Like I was having a look at the Motherwell game, and I was going to suggest that we came up against a team, because I think Motherwell did reasonably well last year, which was also helped by Van Veen's goals. And he's now, or he was it Groningen in Holland? And there was a bit of chat of him coming back to Scotland. He's kind of getting touted about a wee bit. They were not sure what's real or what's no.
It's him that's down, still,
Aye. And we had the guy, Kaharovic, who's now at Swansea, if I remember right, and he's scoring a few goals down there. And it was like, how could we not get the guy with the sort of checkered past that scored a load of goals playing for us? We got the guy who is actually a really good player, but couldn't get fit. That seemed like if you were going to define like typical Hibs, that would be one of those things. And the Dundee United game, did we have a goal disallowed in that game?
I don't
Am I
know.
misremembering that with another one?
Well, Kukrevich, or however you fucking just said it.
Kukrevich, I think it was.
We've said it 3 different ways now.
Yeah, I'm right.
He got one chopped off for offside, maybe, or something.
Oh, it was a push. There. Was it like a foul at the back post? And it was a fucking.
VAR. It was just before VAR, wasn't it?
It was a nonsense decision that.
Yeah.
We had a couple of shockers because we had Melkerson's offside at Kilmarnock as well. When it was like.
That was with VAR as well.
Aye, with the lines overlapping, and then at that point they were saying if they overlap, it goes with the defence. And then when Rangers scored like that for Parker, it was like, oh no, if they overlap, that's a goal.
They would have looked at the VAR again. Did you just listen to that 30 minutes? I tell you, still listening to it or not?
No, I don't know yet.
Fuck me.
You'd be surprised, Colin, how little of other Scottish football I listen to.
I was out with the dog, right? I was at a big walk, and I thought, oh, that's it. Oh, yeah, I'll listen to that. And I didn't listen to the rest of it because then it just got into all it was an hour and a half, the whole podcast, but the first 25, 30 are just the usual suspects. It started well, right? It was Mickey Stewart and Tom English. And then they went over to fucking Willie Miller, Billy Dodds, Jim Duffy. I thought, for fuck's sake, man, is there anybody? Anyway, sidetracked. They had that Steve Conroy on, though, interestingly, who's the ref that
They did ken the rule.
Aye, although he does ken the rule, and it's the way it's been reported because you can tell with the way he's speaking. He's saying, and you're right, aye. So I see what you mean.
Right.
That's what he was saying. Doesn't matter. Listen to yourself. Sports and BBC. It was on Saturday. Right, May. So we had 5 games in May. Big push well, I think we could still get 3rd place at this point.
Aye, we could. It was still in our hands.
So it's still in our hands despite fucking throwing it away at home to Motherwell, Dundee United. We could still finish 3rd. So what did we do? We got 5 points out of 15. That was the first one. So we started well, beat St Mirren at home, pumped off Rangers. No, I missed the game out. Actually, sorry, Aberdeen up there. Remember, it was 0-0, but it was like we gave them a doing. Finished 0-0. Did we miss a penalty as well?
We did. So there's the game McCurdy would have scored, but the boy handled it.
And
then, which by the way, I don't think he got sent off for it either. Which is interesting. I'm pretty sure he just got a yellow.
But it depends if you're. Oh no, it doesn't depend. That's what it doesn't.
It was a goal bound shot.
Nobody knows.
Aye.
That's right. So it should have been a red card as well. And we said that at the time last year, I think. But you did.
Probably.
So yeah, 0-0 up there, and that was kind of almost what gave Aberdeen third place, because it was just enough then after that, because we had Rangers at home and then, Rangers at Ibrox. Oh no, I'm lying. Talking right. It was Rangers and Celtic both at home in quick succession. We lost to Rangers 3-1. I think for that memory, it was a bit of doing. I felt like a bit of doing that night. Before the highlight of the month, which was beating Celtic 4-2. So that was the Wednesday night game, midweek, and we beat them 4-2. It was. I think they got somebody sent off, and we managed to capitalise on that. So Ewan got 2, Nisbet got 1 apparently, scored a penalty, and an OG as well.
Do you remember Ewan's goals in that game? So one of them was the volley, like the ball just dropped down in the box, and he kind of volleyed into the bottom left corner, I think, right, cracking finish.
Right.
But his other goal was almost like John Rankin Squiggler-esque. So he's...
Is that... was it Scott Bain? Let it under his hands.
Bain made an absolute no hunt at it. But the good bit about it is you see Ewan doing a wee flick on the wing, and I don't know who the defender is, but it was almost like a career ender for him, the way that Ewan has gone by him. He's like, doesn't care what's happened, and he just falls over, and then Ewan fires a shot, and the keeper just drops it in. That was a good night, that one, no? Like the 4-2, and Hibs were well worth the win. Celtic had already won the league, though, by that point, hadn't they? It was
second last game of the season, so they won it a few weeks ago, and I think they had the cup final, but it was that point where they're chucking Bain in and goals and all that kind of stuff.
Aye.
But still, I mean, it wasn't. It's still worth a lot more money than our squad.
Yeah.
Even it is reserves, or some of them were reserves, but we did outplay them. But then disappointingly went to Tynecastle and only came away with a draw, despite them being down to 10 men for the whole second half. But that's kind of that ties us up to the end of the season. So the Celtic and Derby highlights in April and May, but they kind of overshadowed the point that we got 9 points out of 27 in the last 2 months, which is what fucked us for third place or fourth place. Because we could have been third, and I know it's could have been the should have and all that, but third was there for the taking.
It was.
Yep.
Win at Aberdeen and didn't get pumped off Dundee United or Motherwell, and you're comfortably third, not even just third. And actually we finished fifth.
Aye.
So despite, and I see it coming back, like now that folk are criticising the new manager and that, and it's like, well, Johnson got us into Europe and all that, and you go, consolation spot. Like as I said at the time, fifth place, you're as well not bothering. I know we've got some money out of this year, and we've got to get pumped off Aston Villa and all that we'll come on to, but that was the group stages of what you want. The Cunts Cups, take it or leave it for me, and we gave third and fourth away.
Aye, they were in our hands, really. I think it was really frustrating at the time, and we were relying on Celtic winning the cup as well to get that European spot, because can't remember who they played in the final, but had the
there was
Inverness, a wee team, wasn't it? Aye,
Billy Dodds was the manager.
Aye, because if Inverness had won that game, I mean, I think that's really unlikely, but had they won it, we wouldn't have got Europe at all.
But then it affects everything, Matt, because then the players have still got another week before they know when their season, programs, summer programs, and all that kind of stuff they get when they go on holiday, when they're coming back, because it all impacts the knock on. But anyway, really disappointing end of the season, despite those 2 results in isolation. They were good days, good nights.
Right.
Anything you want to add to that?
Nah, are you going into the start of the next season then?
Aye, because there was nothing happened in June. So, but then July there was one game. Do you remember the one game in July?
Was it the away game against Inter de Escalades?
Yeah, the worst result in our history at the time. That was called, so. 2-1. Yeah, 2-1. Joe Newell got us a goal late on to keep us in the tie. Yeah, that was July. So one played, one loss.
One defeat.
Good start.
Do you think
mental that game? Like we were shite. Right, we should probably still have won. Marshall's chucked 1 or 2 in. I can't remember if he chucked them both in. Right, and then we couldn't hit a fucking Kuz Arse with a banjo, and with the forward play. We just were like so bad. But you remember the reaction after that?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I just said that about worst result in history.
Aye.
Mind the fans at the wee group of fans down at the front giving them absolute dogs abuse. Which, by the way, in a way, like it was everybody was a bit embarrassed about it at the time and all that. But I think we knew we would win the second leg. But it is a fucking shocker result.
What was? It was.
So you can kind of see why they were angry. I mean, what they're shouting about, give me my money back and all that, I disagree with. Like, you go, you take your chance when you go. It's more about how embarrassing it is rather than this is how much it cost me. But yeah, it was a terrible, terrible result. That if I move into August, we quickly turned round.
Yeah.
With a 6-1 home win. So August then, right? Played loads of games in August. 9 games. That includes all the European ties. So it's quite, when you look at the other ones, you're getting 4 or 5 a month.
That's right. We talked about that on the podcast at the time about the sort of scourge of what was it, the poison chalice of European football at our level, because it's Thursday, Sunday, Thursday, Sunday.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's why when we get to it this year, assuming we're still in the mix for it at the end, I'll be talking about needing quantity and quality.
Yep.
Because you need quantity, right? It's just you do for when you come back to the league games. Because I'm saying 9 games in August. The one we've just spoken about in July was on the 31st of August. So I know it's still a different month, but there's 10 games in real quick.
Aye.
31 days, So 32. So it's quite a lot of football to play. So those 9 games, we won 3, drew 1, lost 5. So the highlights. You want to talk about the highlights?
Aye, go the highlights.
So the highlights were Europe, certainly in the league, because I think the losses mainly came in the league, or 3 of them did, and the other 2 were Villa. So the 2 European home games. Well, sorry, the 3 European games, because I include the home game against Inter, although we expected to beat them. I think Lucerne was going to be tougher, but that 3-1 game on the Thursday night was just quite a good game. Good goals. Obita scored, Neil scored a cracker, and then we had that debate, didn't we, about whether Lafondre meant that return or not.
It was no debate. They definitely meant it.
No, it was definitely a debate, though.
That game's been one of my favourite games in recent years. Like I have to say, like it was a
watched
cracking
that
night.
Didn't you?
Aye,
last
it was when I had the builders in the bathroom. I watched it back, and I would watch it again quite happily. We were brilliant that night, really, really good.
Yeah.
And Luzerne weren't a bad team.
No, and the 3-1 made it quite not comfortable. That's totally wrong words, but 3-1 made it feel more doable, I suppose, when we went to Lucerne the week after and got the 2-2 draw, which was a good performance, wasn't it? Ewan and Boyle sort of playing what we want to see from them, like fast wide men.
Yes.
And that was what that draw was. So that was the draw. And the 2 wins were the 2 European home ties. The other win was in the League Cup against Wraith Rovers.
High flying Wraith Rovers, you have to call them that. High flying Wraith Rovers, yep.
Yeah.
Is that to give them their full name? Like,
yeah,
that's Boyle?
How they're now referred to, I think, for the rest of the season until they start falling away.
It's like 16-year-old Luke Whitler.
Aye.
Whitler, whatever his fucking name is. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was that. The at the end of the month we ended it obviously with a fucking Villa pumping home and away, but also in between that a home loss to Livingston in the league.
Yeah.
So we didn't get that's been through. That's us at the end of August, right? So we've done 8 months of the year. I know there was no games in June or July really, but we've never had a month with it. That was a good month.
Nah, no one, eh?
Or we'll talk maybe February with John. Maybe was the 3-4 wins in a row. But it's just like you get a good result, totally surrounded by really bad results. Livingston at home, fucking Motherwell at home, Dundee United away. You know what I mean? Just totally surrounded. But
Villa
was a highlight, wasn't it? Actually, before it.
Yeah, I was going to say Villa's is a funny one to assess because obviously result-wise it was very much a low light, but actually for an occasion And I think, especially John, for the folk who went down to Villa Park for the return leg, that was definitely like Luzerne away, Villa away, go down as massive highlights for folk, I think.
I never really passed up the opportunity to go to Luzerne. I never went and have regretted it because I've seen the pictures. It looks like the guys that we know had an amazing time. Instead, I took the loser's prize of going down to Aston Villa. I've no idea. Like on reflection, I've no idea why I went because we were already 5-0 down by that point, and I'm thinking, well, like I went to Blackpool. That was a good laugh. Be an opportunity to go down in the car, spend some time with mates, have a few drinks. I think, do you know, the one reason why I think I went was to go to Villa Park. Just one of those like football fan things. Like I can tick off my list. I can say that I've been.
Yeah.
Aye.
I mean, the FA Cup semi-finals used to be there, wasn't it? Like when we were wee, used to get one of the same as it.
But the thing that Hibs came away like being known for was like the constant singing. It was like the best away fans at Villa Park for years and years and years. And I was standing there with my face tripping me. I hated every second of it. I just felt like an animal in a fucking zoo. I was depressed. And then afterwards, when we were getting away and go to the trains or whatever, I sort of semi-accidentally, semi-purposefully just like never met up with my mates afterwards. Just got the train, went back to the hotel, fell asleep, and got woken up at like 2 a.m. by a fire alarm going off. It was just dreadful. So happy memories.
I'll put that in a low light for you, then.
I didn't even watch the Villa game, the second leg.
Did you know?
I went to Paolo Nutini at Ingleson. That would recommend. That was good.
I wish I'd went to Paolo Nutini.
So there's nothing on this game. And I had a hotel booked and everything for Villa Park, and I went. I had it on the cancellation. I just been there. I was like, Thursday, fuck it, after 2 days of my work, and there was nothing on it. And I get everybody had a good day out in that sing song, but I didn't like that. It was like when we got pumped to Celtic in the cup final and everybody was giving it the real sport you ever more stuff. I was back in the car in the house before
we were at the stadium. Before that Villa return leg, obviously one of the I suppose a highlight was Lee Johnson got sacked because it was David Gray that took charge for the
so he did
for the return leg. Which folk forget about because you always kind of go like we had as we're going to September, we started off that month with a 2-0 win up at Aberdeen.
Yeah,
team played well, probably their best performance since the Luzerne game. And it looked like we might be all right. Johnson was away, David Gray had taken it, but Gray had taken the Villa game. We played all right in that return leg as well. Like it wasn't an embarrassment, and you can see obviously the season Villa's having. They're a very, very good team. So I think there's like any real shame in taking the defeat that we did to them. But we didn't have long to wait for Montgomery to come in. So David Gray only had that one league match. There was a bit of noise about Montgomery potentially coming in, a bit of a clamour. I think we were on board with it as well. Prior to him getting appointed as one of our preferred candidates, I think as we looked more and more into him, we thought that would be a good shout. So I was quite happy when he came in, and his first game was a 2-2 with Kelly. I think we were 2-0 up in that game though.
We were. Yeah, should have won that game.
They scored the death, I think, if I remember, or like in the closing stages of the match. But that was one of those games where it had the hallmarks as chucking it away.
79 minutes.
Was it?
Scored the equaliser. I just looked it up, but it was 2-0 early in the second half. But they scored. Remember, they got the one back really quickly.
Aye.
Benny scored that day, and the song came out, and that was the first time really the song was getting a good ear in.
That was a good highlight, the Venti song. That was done well with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Then we followed that with 2-0 win in Perth against St Johnstone. St Johnstone at that point were fucking proper shite. Oh, so it was. Aye, I'm looking at it as well. I'm literally reading it off my phone as we're talking about it. A comfortable 2-0. Then we had
that wasn't the game. That was a highlight because I wasn't at that game. I didn't really see it because my daughter was playing. It was an afternoon kickoff through in Hamilton or Glasgow or something. So I presented the podcast.
Oh, sure, you did. Aye.
So that's a wee highlight for the listeners. Yeah.
Aye. That was one of the 4 or 5 good ones that we put out this year. And then we had the League Cup game against St Mirren, and again this was where It looked like we were maybe going to chuck it. That was like a good game call. We were in, or was it you and I, John?
And
We
you
were
were
in
with
hospitality
Phil. Aye.
that night with.
I sat with Pete Preston that night.
Aye,
Listening to Pete. So hi, Pete.
we were in with
Oh
the
yeah,
spirits.
yeah.
We were in the early
Memorable.
days.
It's so
Sorry,
memorable. Aye.
talking
Sorting out the
talking
sponsorship.
through the sponsorship. Eh?
Aye.
And it was a cracking game. A game
Is that not memorable because you said to me, "Oh, we're no, that's it. Like we've chucked it, we've thrown it away," and then Boyle scored the third.
I think I said, "Where's the goals coming from?" That was
That
it
was
because
it.
we took off. I think Venti went off. We'd gone. We chucked the young ones on. We went for 2-0 to 2-2, and you're like, "Oh, the game's gone." Like it totally turned. I think
They
if I
actually took
remember,
the lead, mate.
did they?
Aye, they went, it was 1-0 at half time.
Fucking hell, my memory's shocking. Eh?
It was 1-0 at half time, and then we went 2-1 up, and then they equalised.
They equalised, and I said, "Where's the goals coming from?" I win it, and then we ended up winning 4-2. That was a good night though. Enjoyed it. A good game. It was like another kind of nighttime game, which is I always enjoy them. And you were starting to get a bit of a buzz back about the team again. Like you had a semi-final now to look forward to. We were
Yeah.
scoring goals. We were looking not bad in defence. But then followed up with 0-0 against Dundee.
We were
Uh,
fully in the midst of a
Should
new
have had
manager
it.
bounce at that point, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
The
It was
0-0
all
against
looking
the
good.
aye.
It was all looking good, wasn't it? I mean, we just take the Aberdeen one out of it, but we beat Aberdeen. But like, obviously, it wasn't the new manager, but good performance away to Kelly that we should have won. Then we win the next game, we win the next game, and then we should have won this next game that you're talking about there as well.
Aye, the Dundee one was 0-0, but the Dundee were lucky to get away with 0. I can remember writing a column for the BBC, maybe for the Observer, ahead of that one, talking up Hibs attack. I take full responsibility. I think it gave us the fucking kiss of death for the season for
Yeah.
it because we've never looked like a really good attacking team since then. Um,
Does that mean that Nick Montgomery can come hunt you down if you've reversed Jonadas?
I think I'm gonna have to like have my hands up here because I'd said before it you just looked like scoring everything we were going forward. You had Boyle, Yuan, Vente, Lafondre, or Deutsch. Deutsch was in good form at the time as well. Then we got a 0-0 against Dundee. We get the 2-2. So this would definitely highlight like a tiny 2-0 down. That was like a really disappointing game for a long period because we went into that one with quite high expectations. Like I think one of the characteristics that we thought we were getting from Montgomery team is that he was going to be able to have us punching our weight in the big games. And then we just didn't get going in the derby at all. Found ourselves 2-0 down. It looked to all intents and purposes like it was going to be a right shiter. And then you had, listen, what was it, 86 seconds?
83.
The game, 83
I
seconds.
mean,
The
what's
game,
3 seconds?
aye. The game turns in its head, 2 goals for Yuan. Then that's a totally different game. You come away from it buzzing, really, because you kind of resigned to defeat, but 2-0. 2-2, you're like, fucker, here we go. We're 4-0 defeat next game against Rangers.
Yeah.
It's just, I
And
think it's really,
that game was notable if you remember in the press afterwards. I think that was where the first time the like Montgomery's preferred style of play began to be questioned. And Tam McManus was in the press saying like if he does that against Celtic, then he's going to get absolutely scudded.
aye.
And also notable as well that we didn't get scudded,
It was
and
0-0.
it was 0-0, and it was the start of Tavares coming back into the squad, better performances, but arguably to the detriment of the team because of the change that it's kind of like enforced elsewhere. Although the forced, it's not the change itself isn't Tavares coming to the side, it's been Lafondre going out injured and like requiring a bit of a reshift of the personnel to fit the preferred style of play.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The Celtic, I actually remember the rocking up to Easter Road, seeing the team sheet come through, like on Twitter, as usual, and everybody going, fuck's sake. Like, I didn't I think anybody went, I can see what we're going to do here, and we're going to be fine. It was, I mean, there's a guy listens, Martin, he sits in the West stand up near us, talked to him before the games, good guy. I think he came up and says, how long are we getting Tavares till he's subbed off? Is he going to get 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever? And actually, Tavares had a good game. And I think the
Was
only...
that Saturday at 3? That was a Saturday
Aye,
at 3.
it was, aye. But I think that game probably gave us a wee sight, and like Montgomery being able to get a performance out of players that you didn't expect. And Hibs were worth it. Like the 0-0 again, it wasn't one that I think we were totally hanging on by our fingernails by. I thought we played well in that game and did a bit of a job on them. Then we drew 2-2 Ross County at the end of October. It's mental the amount of shite games, eh? Like when you look at it, you're going, fucking look at these results.
2-2 is such a it's like almost an average scoreline. Like the amount of them we've had this season is mental.
Aye. Well, that one again, we were sort of coasting. We were 2-0 up, and I think Wallacott was in goals that night, chucked one in. And it just
Lafondre
was...
delivered no Lafondre, sorry, Yandanda delivered a ball. I'm just chucking his name in there because we've got a listener who is desperate for Yandanda to sign for Hibs, constantly talking about his crossing ability, and I heard he was coming to Hibs. So,
well, let's say about that the better, given where it looks like he's gone. That was a bit of a sickener, that one, because I think that you started to feel the mood changing a wee bit. Like you can get away with a couple of these a season, I think, and then you've got, when it starts to become apparent, folks start to get disgruntled. And the next game after that was the League Cup semi-final at Hampden. Again, we find a way to lose a game that we were fucking so comfortable in. Really, Aberdeen go down to 10 men, and then they get a goal. We maybe could have had a penalty. We maybe could have had a goal. Do you know, like that marginal offside call on Boyle? I think if Boyle scores that, we probably go on to win that game pretty comfortably. But fucking if your auntie's
it did feel like first goal winner, eh? It did feel like first goal winner. I heard Mikey Stewart on that podcast I was referring to earlier said today, well, said it yesterday, but I heard it today saying about marginal offsides. They're talking about VAR in general and saying I think what I said at the time, and it's just agreeing with it, is that if it's that marginal that it takes you that long to decide, and it's not that it's black and white because we've not got enough cameras or whatever, you just need to go with the on-field decision.
Aye.
You know what I mean? And that's what I say. And I know it would have benefited us, so it's easy to say when it benefits you, but I think if you don't know, and the cameras don't really fucking know, like that goal, for it to take that long, you know, like I'd even celebrated for ages, like you do a goal at Hampden, and then looking up thinking, what's going on? I didn't realise there had been a VAR there. I'm like, longer this goes on, the more less chances getting it.
You can't no longer it dragged on. And then we had St Mirren away next. Again, a game we were in the lead and we chucked it to death. We ended up drawing 2-2. Another VAR decision gone against us. It was that shirt pull. I think it was Obita pulled the boy's shirt. And I remember us talking at the time saying there's like 3 or 4 fouls before the ball reaches him, but they never get looked at in it. And then we beat Kelly 1-0. I didn't actually remember much about that game. That was at Easter Road, 11th of November. Must have been just like a fucking pretty nondescript game, memorable for not a lot.
Aye. Campbell scored, didn't he? It was Boyle had a nice run through and played Campbell through.
Aye. And actually Boyle, I think, had one ruled off for offside in that one as well.
Aye. He was offside.
Aye, he was. Then we beat Dundee 2-1. That was with 10 men. That was when Lewis Miller got sent off. Good win for us there. Then we beat Aberdeen 2-0. Again, another good win, but we got battered for like a good chunk of that game. But Marshall was like pulling out fucking ridiculous his penalty saves and everything in that game. But I thought we were. That
is mental. That's only at the start of December. That game. That feels like fucking ages ago. Because I mind walking around to the ground. I was running late that day. I got there just in time for kickoff. And as I was coming around, the sound system coming out for the Meadowbank side, it's cracking. It's clear as a wheel. And he played Wham. And I thought, they'll be complaining about that.
For the Whamageddon.
Aye. Which is a little shite. But I play it.
So Last Christmas, one of the best Christmas songs gone. Andrew came out, you wrote Avoid to get in the mood. It's decent. Celtic beat us 4-1 at Parkhead. No really lot to show about that. But a 1-0 win against Livingston again. It was a shite game. I just noticed today, Martin Boyle got goal of the month for that. The goal in that game. I was like, you must have been struggling.
Away to Livingston?
Aye. Must have been struggling for.
Well,
that was a nice wee finish, eh?
Aye, the kind of ball broke to him. Yuan took the shot, it broke off the defender, and
That's
finished
a goal
it.
with them. Fuck, there must not be many goals that month.
Well, there really wasn't. Unless
Oh, Hibs goal of the month.
Aye,
Not
Hibs
the
goal of the
goal of
month.
the month in the season.
No, not for not for the league.
Fair enough.
it was only the 4 goals that we scored during that month to choose from, and the other ones weren't particularly notable. They were just ordinary goals. Aye.
And that's about it for highlights. We finished the year with defeat to St Johnstone. Fucking Craig Levein didn't get a shot on target that game, and then the Derby defeat, which
started the year with a defeat to Hearts, and finished the year with a defeat to Hearts. I think that's quite
lovely top and tail. That
just
that's
bookended it.
A low light.
Fuck Hearts. That's what I say to that.
A lot more lowlights than highlights, unfortunately.
I know. So that's the year in review. Pretty forgettable year. All things.
Should we give it marks out of 15?
Aye, score it as 15, and then we'll give it a score, and then I'll go to the listeners and we'll read out their highlights for the year, and that'll round us off for the evening.
8. I'm not allowed half marks. 8
out of 15.
Aye.
Well, I'm much lower than that. I'm going like 4 or 5.
I was going to say 6, but 4. So
that's 8's pass marks. Like,
but then we got
7. Fuck's sake.
We went to Europe. We sacked a manager that everybody wanted to sack. We had some good nights in there. 4 to 15.
It's not a good season. It's not a good year for me. Yeah, you could push me to 5, but I'm saying 4. Yeah.
Right, give it the Hibby said Lee Johnson showed a bit of fighting spirit and passion at full time at Tynecastle on the last day of the season. It was heartening to see what it meant to the likes of Rocky and CJ Egan-Riley. That was a highlight as well. We having a big rammy at the end of the game. One of these where the commentators go, "Oh, we didn't want to see scenes like this," and guys, in reality, you absolutely fucking do want to see scenes like that at the end of derbies and that.
When we get the result we want though as well. Like,
aye.
You know, it's like I think it can be a bit of a face saver.
Alright, just fucking ruin the mood, Colin.
Can't help it. Can't help it.
I just like to see folk fighting.
That's what they are.
When it all starts kicking off, I can't remember what game we watched. Was it through the week? There was it was the Villa game. The goalie got involved with the shenanigans, and the boy got sent off for Villa, and McGinn went mental for it. I can't remember who they were playing, but it was fucking brilliant. As the game, it was just when there's like loads of niggly stuff going on and shithousery. I love that in the game. You
see the Villa keeper the other week doing it when he was like falling down in that.
Aye, that's the game I'm talking about.
Well, that was a few weeks ago. Aye.
Leon Red Sox said Lucerne away, brilliant trip with some great folk, matched by a brilliant result, beating Aberdeen 6-0 and their owner crying on TV, and Lee Johnson's Hibs beating Hearts at Easter Road. The Hibs are here, says the Lennon McInnes thing before Monty was appointed, wonderful wind-ups. Villa away, a near religious experience, and now yearn for the day our leagues are merged so we get such trips all the time. We've got, find the next one. There's a few. Hibernian Retro posted one with a purple strip, and they tag us in it, and we get loads of notifications about them. So I'm just trying to make sure I'm not just talking about a purple buck ticket, which is pretty smart.
That is smart, aye.
Legends of 73 says Lucerne away from flight cancellations on the morning of the game. The walk to the stadium to the scenes and limbs when we scored the second goal will never be forgotten, even though I was reeking.
Did you just say limbs? Like limbs. He's fucking 50-odd-year-old.
Aye, limbs. Well, there you go. You enjoyed the limbs, scenes.
Abhorrent.
Neil Renton just put a picture of Harry McCurdy. That was one of the good things for his. That wasn't this year, was it?
That's for next year.
Aye, for next year. We had Ross McH said Villa Park, proper old school stadium, and a fabulous free rail service back to New Street. The Half Monty said the Disco Lights versus Jumbos, bad loss getting his jotters halfway across the Easter Road pitch, and limbs at Ewan's equaliser at Tiny.
Oh no. Also, he may be young though, to be fair. I don't know. You said that limbs again. What was it?
That was the half Monty.
Don't know how old he is.
Don't know. Jeff Ashton said Lucerne away. Many, me and myself, brother stuck in Edinburgh, unfortunately due to Lucerne, but we managed to have a ball. Part Fry's image said Lucerne. Flight rerouted via Oslo after Frankfurt floods. £15 pints. Fucking hell. Arriving as the march started, water cannon, early goal, and then Johan picking out Boyle in front of the Hibs fans, bedlam at full time, making the train and avoiding a £350 taxi to Zurich and sleeping in the airport. Aldo said the arrival of the winter break. Parmaham too said Hibs PR team making me want Monty as a manager when a week before I didn't even know he existed. That was a good shout as well. Tom Wallace said the first 16 minutes versus Aston Villa. Raymond says Switzerland, the journey there and the wee fiesta vibe there, carry-outs outside the bar to save roughly £80 a round, cost-saving expert stuff. A couple of trips like that a season is what we are after. Vent is plenty still love seeing all Hibs fans showing their unwavering support to the team. Gav Dick said the 6-0 Celtic 4-2 in the Derby win. Fattest Prick has said, as a peri-peri chip enthusiast, I'd have to say it was seeing Hibs bring back the peri-peri chips to the kiosks. They were decent for a full 3 games, which coincidentally is just like Hibs in 23. It makes you think. And the last one is David O'Rourke says, sadly, not too many big highlights to reflect on in 2023. 2024 will be different, fingers crossed. For me, there are 2. Kev slotting the winner past the Jambos in April and the European win against Luzerne under the Leith San Siro lights in August. Nice way to round that off. That game was probably my highlight of the year, the Lucerne one.
It'd be good to have a few more of them to talk about. I mean, hopefully
Definitely.
Next year when we're talking about end of season, end of year review, whatever you want to call it, we're actually fighting for games to pick, and we're not talking about as many disappointments that surround the good highlights.
Aye.
It would be a nice wee change.
Just shows you, like, if we've got a bit of consistency about us, what a team we could actually be. It's like we're capable of good results, but we've wasted so many games, like particularly the ones for winning positions, and that just need to do better. Definitely need to do better. But John dropped off. If anybody's watching and wondering where he went, John's dog's not particularly well, and I think he needed to let it go and do what it needs to do. So, right. Colin, just finally, before we go, a wee bit of news this week. It looks like we might be signing that. I forget his name. Luke. We talked about him through the week.
Oh, the Leeds guy.
Aye, Mills.
All right. Don't know, mate.
I can't remember his name. That's terrible. I had looked up and I've forgotten it. But also, it looks like there's some progress being made with Bill Foley. Suffield, he's openly talking about signing some exciting South American player for Bournemouth and then immediately punting him out on loan for the balance of the year, he said. So I don't know whether that's the rest of the season or the rest of the year, however you interpret it. But they were looking like spending $5.5 to $6 million on some South American wonder kid, and he said put him out to Auckland or Hibs, and he named us specifically. Auckland aren't up and running yet, so he's hoping we get a nice £5 million addition to midfield.
Is it midfield? Is it? Right.
Midfielder, I think. Which we're kind of crying out for a good midfielder now. Anyway, right. That was last year. Let us know if you agree with our highlights, and we will see you next time.
Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee. I don't drink what I know.